Welcome to UFO Headline News with me, Heidi Hollis, where every day I aim to bring you the latest in UFO reports and other fascinating stories from around the globe. Today is Friday, February 9th, 2018, and on Fridays tonight at 8 p.m. Central, join me for my talk show, The Outlander, where I answer your emails, take your calls, and interview some intriguing guests. Just go to irnchat.com to chat, interact, and listen live to The Outlander Show. And go to HeidiHollis.com for more information. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about myself because I usually do this for my talk show. I am an experiencer of everything imaginable. UFO sightings, I even seen some creatures, some call aliens, near-death experiences, Bigfoot, shadow people, demons, Hat Man, all sorts of stuff. And I've learned to have a sense of humor about it. And I hope that everybody can kind of take these things a little bit lighter than they have in the past. It just needs to be done. So, critical, I'm not cynical. Nope. I enjoy these topics. And it's kind of fun to just bop along, read this stuff, take it all in for what it's worth, and enjoy. We're going to blast off with some UFO reports. Blasting off! We are at a sighting in Michigan. This occurred February 1st, 2018. Bright, circular, pulsating, color-changing object south-southeast of us, possibly Selfridge base. Look at this. It's always a base or a airport or something. It's just always. My goodness. Okay. The first time I saw it was approximately January 30th. It was bright and something was trailing off from it, too far away to tell what it was. This event that I'm contacting you about, not me, they're writing this to MUFON, happened while looking out a window at the deer with an IR camera. Infrared, I'm assuming. The object was back, so I decided to take a picture and video. It was high in the sky. A plane actually passed under it at one point. It moved faster than we have ever seen. It could change directions on a dime. It spun around in a circle 3 times. When I zoomed in, I could see it changing colors. It stayed for quite some time, then just disappeared. We saw red, yellow, blue, green, and purple colors around it. Oh, sounds gorgeous. And complete black circle under the entire object at times. Okay. Can't explain it. Don't know if it's anything or not. Just looking for another opinion. You could see some black object pop in and out near it as well. My friend thought it was a star at first. I thought maybe a planet. But this object moved too fast and moved in different directions. Thanks. Okay. It's hard to read these things sometimes because these things are not even spelled right. But it's all good. It's all good. I appreciate these reports because they're so interesting. They're fascinating. All right, UFO sighting in Mayfield, New South Wales. This occurred February 3rd, 2018. It happens almost every night, they say. I will be in bed and all of a sudden I will freeze after hearing footsteps, usually resulting in me dropping my phone on my face. That's funny. And 1 to 2 grays, but more like us as guardians? Stargate? Okay, with human eyes, seeing as I have a massive fear of aliens, I usually can't move or talk. They either just sit or stand there, looking at me, and eventually walk out and leave. Tonight was different. It happened about an hour ago. I was watching TV, and my dog started to growl, and they appeared on the bed next to my dog. Then I black out. I've lost around 1 hour, 20 minutes of time. The weird thing is I woke in my lounge room where I left, but with no pants, found on bed folded up. Oh, that's very scary. And that's the end of their account. My goodness. Hypnotic regression. That would be fun to know what happened. Or not fun. Some people regret their regressions. All right. This next one is a UFO blast from the past. This occurred in Wasilla, Alaska. We all know where that is, thanks to a very famous resident. This occurred August 15th, 2015. From my front porch, walked down porch steps, was there for a little while, then gone. I spent a nice, warm, sunny day with a friend on the front porch of our house. As a member of a chemtrail website, I would often look up, and on this day when I looked up, I saw a giant, red, glowing disc during the middle of the day. I was shocked and in disbelief. It was the size of a full moon. For you guys that listen to this show more, don't we hear about these big, massive ones like that. I personally have seen something rather massive like that too, and the whole body glowed orangish red. So I understand. I checked, and the clouds were between 5 to 10,000 feet. The disk was above the clouds. The disk had a smaller circle in the middle of its bottom side. I looked up several times. It did not move or make noise. Then I looked a fourth or fifth time, and it was gone. I waited over 2 years, mainly out of disbelief. I guess they mean to report this, I think. All right, the next UFO report. This occurred in Panama City, Panama. Wow, this is a big UFO blast from the past. This occurred June 17th, 1977. Newspaper photos and blog about second Jimmy Carter related UFO in Panama in June 1977. That sounds interesting. President Jimmy Carter has spoken of a UFO he witnessed in the 1960s. When he visited Panama in 1977 to broker the Torrijos-Carter Treaty, on one of his visits, UFOs were tracked over the Isthmus of Panama, witnessed across the country. As a child, I read about this UFO in our local Southern newspaper. I believe it was made both to the U.S. Southern Command TV news called SCN and local Panamanian TV news, but at the time the UFO news was overshadowed by the unrest in the country because of the treaty. This blogger has clickable images of the Star and Herald newspaper from that UFO encounter, plus description of the UFO midway down the page. And they have a link here you guys could click on when you go to our site. You'll see it. For years, I thought the Carter UFO incident was this one because it had been well documented at the time, but now I realize there are 2 occasions where there were UFOs related to Carter. Many years later, I thought maybe the UFO had been a stealth fighter prototype, though at the time I believe the UFO the witnesses spoke of was round. There may be U.S. military staff that have more info on this, or it might be available with FOIA. I believe the Panamanian reporters and the photographer would be willing to talk to you guys. Thanks for the great work you do. Well, they're talking about MUFON, not me. For the record, I tried clicking that link to read that article, and it is not there, so must have been moved. All right, this next one is a black triangle sighting in Amarillo, Texas. This occurred, it's a big blast from the past, kind of. This occurred on June 30th, 2005. Triangle UFO, 4 lights, 3 yellow, 1 red, next to nuclear assemble-disassemble plant. Wow, they had very, very pointed areas. I was driving home in the dark and noticed some lights that were out of place. At first, I thought to myself, how are those lights up so high? It looked like a pickup truck just hovering in the sky. Oh, that's funny. I could only see 2 of the lights at this time. I kept driving for a couple of miles. The closer I got to the object, the bigger the lights got. Once I got close enough to it, I noticed a few cars pulled off of the highway and people got out of their cars looking at the object. I did not stop. When I got underneath it, there was 1 faint red circular light underneath and 1 yellow light on the front of the object. This is how I realized it was triangular in shape. I went home to get my mother, now deceased, that she could see it too. She would not come with me to look at it again. I didn't return to see if it was still there. The Pantex plant is a bomb disassemble plant that this UFO was stationed by. I believe I have seen 1 additional UFO near this plant. Silver orb, purple glow. I don't recall being frightened during either sighting. Very fascinating. All right, the next one, UFO sighting in Springfield, Oregon. This is another blast from the past. August 1st, 2008, looked like a shooting star or falling star, white in color with white exhaust. Chemtrailing. Um, it was 2008. I lived in Lapine, Oregon. Me and a friend were in his truck up in Sisters, Oregon, going for a drive while he drinks a couple of beers. He got pulled over for a DUI. I went to jail. Oh my goodness. He went to jail. I'm sorry. I got to walk home down the side of the highway. I walked until I got between Sisters and Temulo, Oregon. As I'm walking, I get this urge to look behind myself. So I turned around, moving from my right to my left. I saw what I thought was a shooting star, white in color. It followed along Earth's atmosphere, then out of nowhere it plunges into the Earth's atmosphere. It didn't even burn up. 4 orange sparks shot out from behind it, like a trail, but disappeared instantly. Then once it broke through Earth's atmosphere, it took a rounded left into the clouds. I could see it moving through some clouds. It looked like a giant motorcycle headlight moving through fog. Then it traveled east to west through a wormhole. Then I saw a donut hole cloud. It wormholed itself into the center of the donut cloud. Wow! Directly at me. It became the size of 2 NFL football stadiums side by side. Oh, I cannot imagine. My feet hurt too bad to continue watching. Could have sat down. Oh, wow. That sounds like pretty huge stuff. All right. This next UFO sighting happened in Lawrenceville, Georgia. This occurred February 2nd, 2018. Light flashing looked like lights were in departments with gaps between lights. Taking 15-year-old to high school around 6:56 a.m., I saw blinking lights moving faster than anything I ever seen. I live only about 43 miles from Atlanta Airport and see planes and helicopters all the time, day and night. But what caught my eye was the speed. I have never seen anything move that fast and stop in midair and move laterally and stop again at that speed. It hovered off and on and then moved more slowly in different circular motions while it would slow and hover. I, along with my 15-year-old grandchild, could not believe what we were both seeing. As the sun appeared around 7:05, I could still see it except at a longer distance. When the dawn light of the sun was shining off it, it looked metallic. I didn't see it leave when I went around the corner, but it had left around 7:09 a.m. I don't do drugs or drink, and I know what we saw. It gives me a kick when people say that. It's kind of funny. I don't do anything, really, honest. Alrighty, next. UFO sighting in Toronto, Ontario. Slight blast from the past. This occurred September 5th, 2013. 3 p.m., all three of us witnessed disc-shaped craft heading east. It stopped, hovered for a second, then tilted slightly before ascending through the cloud, which made a halo opening. My wife, daughter, and myself were having lunch out on our back deck around 2 p.m. early September 2013 when my daughter said, "Dad, what is that?" My wife and I turned and saw a disc-shaped craft about the size of a school bus about 5,000 feet in the air. It was metallic in color. It was moving forward west to east direction, but had a wobble effect at the same time. We observed it for about a minute. Then it stopped. Hovered for about 2 to 3 seconds, then tilted slightly before ascending through the cloud, which as it went through the cloud, it punched a hole open in the cloud, which we observed as well. Wow. As observing this craft, I turned to my wife and daughter and asked both what they saw. They both were silent, as if unsure on how to respond. Then I asked both, "Did you see a disc that was as big as a bus, no wings, stop in midair, and then tilt, and then ascend like a bullet speed through the clouds?" They both said, almost at the same time, "Was that a UFO?" We all just stared at one another and finished our lunch. The next day, reports of red orbs in the night sky were reported by many in Toronto. God, that sounds like the airport sighting over here at O'Hare in Chicago. That is really...
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, savings coming at ya, savings coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see you at practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
something, because a lot of people witnessed a UFO, and then it punched through the clouds and left a perfect hole in it, and people weren't able to get a recording of the UFO, though I'm sure that the airport did. They just didn't release it. But a lot of people took videos of the hole that was punched through the clouds. It was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, moving on. Black Triangle in Regina, Saskatchewan. This is a UFO blast from the past as well. This occurred May 25th, 2012. Black Large Triangle UFO. In more detail, I was outside by myself on my driveway in front of my house in the city of Regina and was looking up at the sky to look at the sky and stars. It was a nice night out, but with a bit of fog patches in the sky. After 5 minutes of looking at the sky, a huge black triangle flew right over me. I'd estimate it was going 100 kilometers an hour or less when it flew over me. I had a powerful laser light in my pocket that creates a beam in the sky. Yeah, you don't use that for bugging planes, do you? Hope not. That I would use to show my friends out in the country the stars, like the Big Dipper and such. Huh? You think it could point to the Big Dipper? That's a powerful one. As soon as I seen the black triangle UFO, I grabbed my laser out of my pocket and shined it on the UFO. And oddly, I seen the beam go right up to the UFO, but did not reflect back. Oh, that's interesting. And seemed it to absorb the light. This sighting lasted, I'd say, 20 seconds. The UFO had no sound at all. I was surprised the UFO went over a city like Regina, especially because they usually avoid cities unless it's orbs. Wow. What a neat test to do. It's like to have that in your pocket and go, oh, 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 let me try this. That's pretty cool. All right, the next one. UFO sighting in Topeka, Kansas. This occurred on February 1st, 2018. In brief, the witness states, shape-shifted, cloaking device suspected, variety of sizes during encounter, multiple colors of light. Wow. All right. And more detail, they're saying at 9:37 p.m. I was at home and decided to go to the gas station just up the street from my house and get some 20-ounce sodas. I put on my coat due to it being only 18 degrees Fahrenheit outside, grabbed my wallet and took my keys and headed out to my truck. As I start my truck, I look up in the sky to my south-southeast. This is the way my truck is facing, parked on the street. And I notice this extremely bright light that resembles a candle flame. It looks like a flame dancing on a wick. Seeing as how this is not something that is very strange in the sky, that it is something, strange in the sky, I say out loud, "What is that?" As soon as I said this, it immediately stopped flickering and appeared to take on the shape and features of an airplane. Naturally, after seeing this, my eyes were glued to this thing in the sky. Slowly, it started to look as if it was really a plane because it appeared to start slowing moving. So I started to drive to the gas station. I had to turn around, so now I was heading due north and stopped at the stop sign at the end of my street. I was at a complete stop and looked both ways and saw that no one was coming, so I tried to spot this thing again, just to reassure myself that it was an airplane. Much to my surprise, I find it just as it looked as I came outside of my truck when I first saw it. It had gone back to resembling a candle flame. So without hesitation, I turned left westbound and hurried to the gas station and kept checking it in the sky. I had to turn left again at the light, so I was going southbound now. I had a great open sky view of this thing, and what it was doing was changing brightness and hue from the candle-like orangish-whitish to stark white. And as it did this, appeared to be vibrating and started to look almost fuzzy. The base colors of light were the candlelight-like colors to the bright whitish, but within that light, tiny dots of all the colors you could possibly imagine randomly blipped on it, and in no apparent order. I get to the gas station, I get my sodas, and rush back home to see if it's still there. I park on the street facing south and shut off my truck and look in the sky to the south-southeast again. And it is still there, doing doing the freaking out, vibrating, changing colors thing. So I get my phone out to try to see if I can hopefully catch something on video, or at least a picture, and as soon as I get my phone out, and before I can unlock it, this thing stops all movement completely. Then slowly this thing started to dim. And then it slowly started to go higher, and as it did, it looked like a circular object, like a meteor falling to Earth, like the tail of one of those, but in the opposite direction as it was going upwards. And the top of it looked to be rounded off. A few seconds later, it was completely gone. Man, the actions of this thing when it stopped and changed felt to me like it had a conscious knowledge that I was watching it, and it changed or camouflaged itself to avoid being found out. I didn't feel threatened or in danger, but I was definitely concerned, as I don't really know what it wanted or what it was doing over a lake. It's like it was letting me know that it knew I was watching, and that it was watching me too. Ooh. It also felt familiar to experiences seeing this same light growing up, in the same position in the sky, south-southeast, and appearing to be over a lake. I wonder how long it has been watching me. I wonder if it's the same beings that have come before. I wonder what they want. Overall, I feel positive about it, but wouldn't mind some answers. Also, I need to note that it was completely silent. Wow. You guys, once again, you see that pattern? People felt like they knew that they were both watching each other. I mean, it's just crazy. Happens all the time. And I'll tell you, one of the coolest videos I think I'd ever seen on a UFO, like a long time ago. And this big, like, oh, I want to say it was a big black triangle. And it was dark out, but you could make out this triangle. And these people are like in an open field, and this triangle is low. And it's completely silent. And the people are like, oh my God, look at this thing, look at this thing. And as it turns going towards them, like it just all of a sudden spotted them. And all of a sudden it turned on jet sounds. Whoosh! And they're like, no, dude, no. I caught you. You're trying to sound like a plane. You are not a plane. Too late, brother. It was hilarious. I'm like, wow. So they do try to camouflage themselves. So really, really fascinating. All right. Moving on to a paranormal point of a story. This story is called Ouija Horror. Oh no, Ouija boards. All right, this person is sharing their story and they say, I'm pretty young. That doesn't mean I haven't had much experience with the paranormal world. I'm like a ghost hotspot. Always something. But this is by far the scariest paranormal experience. One night my sister had about 3 of her friends over. Not to bloat, but I was a cool little kid. I had always appealed to the older crowd, so I would hang out with my older and only sister. My brother had that one friend that I could consider a brother. As the day got closer to night, we all got bored, so we took a walk. It was for fun, for everyone, but it wasn't for me. I felt watched. I glanced over my shoulder. I saw someone. I couldn't open my mouth to say what I needed to. It felt like my lips were glued together. I looked back at the road ahead of me. Everyone was laughing, talking, and telling jokes, but all I could do was worry about the big, fat stop sign ahead, which meant we had to turn around. I could see it in the distance. Each house I passed, I got sicker and sicker. I looked back again. Still there. Same distance. A man. We got to the stop sign and walked back. I felt watched, but nothing was there. When we got home, I ran in the house and locked the door. They were still outside. My mom was outside, too. I unlocked the door and tell them everything, and they were shocked. My brother's friend said he couldn't deal with any of this and walked to his house. To clarify, I hated my old house. It was just scary. I'd see things all the time. We did the Ouija board. Now this is where everything goes down. My sister and her friends did it. They asked typical questions. My sister thought it was one of her friends. Now, to make sure it wasn't any of them, she asked a question that only me and my sister know. And I wasn't playing, and I trust my sister very much. She would not lie to me. She asked, "What's my great-grandmother's name?" The board answered, "Evelyn." It was right. My sister is never scared, but she was now. I was in the restroom, which is in the room too, but it was just this time that I got the balls to go out of the restroom when they were asking that question. I walked to the corner of the board and cried. I don't know what or why I did. I just did. I cried so hard. I stopped and went into the bathroom very scared. After that, it went crazy. It said I'd hear screaming at 5 in the morning. Ooh. My sister had this on audio and camera. She asked, "What color are the walls?" It answered directly and correctly. We decided to stop playing and said goodbye. We almost forgot to review the footage and audio. Then my sister remembered. It haunting. In a deep, deep voice, it said, "Walls." It haunting? I don't get it. I guess they probably mean it hauntingly said in a deep, deep voice, "Walls." Then the same second someone ran past the camera. That night, I couldn't sleep the whole night. I don't know what it was, but I just passed out at 4:58. In my bed, which is the bed we did it under, I would have horrible nightmares. I'd wake up in the middle of the night crying. We moved soon after that. My grandmother moved into the house. She said the most chilling thing to me. She said, "Who drew in the closet?" In the bedroom there was a closet. In the bathroom I had to share the room with my sister, so it was the master bedroom. "What?" I said. She said, "There are words in the closet. It says goodbye, help, get out, no, or 20, and said Hail Satan." Ooh! I froze. What? She showed me. I took pictures, but they went missing from my phone. We left the house. I visit the house a couple of times a month a year. I had one good nightmare on my house before that was it. I had recently visited it and took a selfie. There it was, a hanging little girl behind me. It was all black behind me, but you could see the tiny cubes making a rope in a little girl's face behind me. I still have it. No explanation on this entire experience. This was by far the scariest paranormal thing to happen to me. I still have experiences till this day, but nothing this big. Thank you for listening to this true story. Well, goodness, Ouija boards open up doorways. I get so many emails all the time from people that, I don't know. I think it's just something that we do when we're teenagers. We go digging into these odd things. I did it. I terrified myself too. I don't know. It's just one of those things. So yeah, and it doesn't matter where you move. Once you open that door, at some point in your life, it just seems that other things can come through. So good luck. Say your prayers, honestly. It's a rough, rough thing when those things keep coming. All right, well, I have to say thank you for listening to UFO Headline News with me, Heidi Hollis. Be sure to check out UFOHeadlineNews.com every single day. And also tune in to my other two radio shows, The Outlander on Fridays and The Kevin Cook Show on Tuesdays. Both are at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And check out my paranormal comic strip, The Outlanders, at theoutlanderscomic.com. Everything I mentioned can be found at HeidiHollis.com or InceptionRadioNetwork.com. And if you've experienced something out of the ordinary and want to find some level-headed advice, or if you've seen a UFO, be sure to share your experiences at UHN at InceptionRadioNetwork.com. Remember always to keep an open mind so you can stay informed and inspired.